Welcome to the Wrestling Fan and Wrestling Show. I'm the big beefy boy, Shaz Beef, and today I'm joined by my fellow old buck Morro and Ciaran Dunphy. How are you, sir?
Good, feeling good.
What are you rolling your sleeves up for?
Because I'm refereeing this one.
What are you refereeing?
I'm refereeing the fact that this guy is biased WWE, this guy is potentially biased AEW. We're going to find out.
That stands for Dub E.
No, you need
potentially biased. It doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, we're going to find
anything.
out. The fans are going to find out.
Did anyone ever tell you look like a guy called Edward? No? No? Okay.
I know a guy who looks like you.
Yeah. Anyway, we are here to discuss WWE versus AEW. Or is it a versus?
Inherent biases
When it comes to tribalism with wrestling, critique of wrestling.
Yeah.
This stemmed from a conversation that we had on the way back from wrestling.
Yeah.
We were all in the car, and I had asked the question because ye went rogue last week and he said, we're going to do an AEW episode.
We did.
I actually, the glee in your voice.
The giggles.
Yeah, the giggles, like, hee. And I was like, did the lads actually think that I hate AEW or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't. I had people coming up to me in the wrestling show that we were at, OTT. Go check out OTT Insider, which is our in-universe
You'll
wrestling
see the
podcast.
two of us on it.
Yeah.
And a guy that looks like him.
Yeah.
I must do an episode.
But people were coming up to me like, I fucking hate AEW as well, man. And I was like, oh, I've seen you on TikTok. I hate AEW. I was like, I don't hate AEW.
Yeah, I had a guy jump to my defense at the show as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I was just beating you with WWE stuff.
Yeah, he
It's
was
better.
like-
It's better.
The guy turns around and he was like, yeah, I'm with you. I was like, yeah.
That was, to be fair, a lot of it is the clips.
But yeah, it is. But
I don't think any of them had seen a full episode.
you
It's
know-
all in the edit.
You know the AEW clips that are from your podcast that I've been putting up is all been like the negative AEW
Oh, yeah, you're going
stuff.
pure clickbait on me.
Yeah, it was like pure. The Bar Boyer thing is the Bar Boyer death match is the biggest
disappointment.
disappointment. Oh, it's Kenny Omega
and like-
reached his potential.
Up to 20 minutes before that of like us like
I
bowing to Omega.
I was doing the edit and there was my little gleeful laugh like.
Oh, you
They
got
have
your
no
revenge.
power.
But it was said to me on the way back that
Shout out to Alan Marr, our Jamie.
Yeah, justice for Shaz. He knows what I'm talking about. Maybe we'll get into that. But it was said between himself, you, and Pender, who didn't have a clue what we're talking about.
Poor Pender was our chauffeur.
He texted me the following day going, you guys fucking love wrestling.
But it was said to me that I don't critique WWE in the same manner in which I do AEW. And I thought about that and I responded in saying WWE have enough goodwill and good faith built up in me that I'm willing to look past things that I think are silly and trust the process. Whereas with AEW, I'm not so much anymore. It was also said that AEW are a relatively new company, 5 years. I would argue that they have a whole kind of blueprint on how to produce wrestling that has been done for 40 years previous and stuff. So I don't think there's this baby company that some people make it out to be. But AEW, when it started, couldn't meet a bigger fan than me. Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes is one of my favorite matches of all time. I just think the way the product is now, it's turned me off. I'm not as big invested in it as I am because I see a lot of different flaws in it.
Can I ask a question? Do you watch full AEW shows anymore?
I watch pay-per-views now.
So weekly TV, you're so turned off that you're not really paying attention to the detail that might be in the TV
I'm not,
show.
yeah, and that's a fair criticism. Yeah, I'm not massively invested in watching Dynamite and Collision and different things like that. Like, I know that Private Party and the Young Bucks had a banger of a tag team match, I heard. Didn't watch it because I don't really care to tune in and invest time within AEW because my investment doesn't generally pay off.
And do you watch full episodes of Raw and SmackDown?
No.
Okay.
Don't watch
I
full
think anyone in the
episodes.
whole world
Yeah.
watches full episodes.
I
that's
think
interesting,
when Netflix comes about, I will, because it's more accessible to an Irish audience. I think that's going to be a massive game changer in terms of people's perception as a whole of wrestling.
Particularly, I think, outside America as well.
Yeah, but I think WWE are going to knock it out of the park when that happens, and you're going to get a lot of fans who maybe lapsed or people who are just tuning in for the first time. They're going to give it a go and they're going to stick around.
It's actually coming at a really good time for them because the last month, 6 weeks, they've been struggling big time. When I say struggling big time, I mean in comparison to the super hot period they had the last couple of years. Last month, 6 weeks, the ratings are dropping, the attendances are dropping slightly. So this Netflix thing is coming at a fantastic time.
So
It's WrestleMania season as well, coming into it. Like,
can I ask you, so Shane says that he can no longer forgive AEW as much anymore, and that's kind of why he dropped off. And then WWE, he feels that he can trust the process all the time because they've built up this 40-year goodwill.
Well, not 40-year goodwill. I want to say when Vince McMahon was in charge, I wasn't a massive... I still watched it, but I wasn't as invested as I am now. Based on Triple H's NXT run, and he's the man in charge, I can get behind it.
So why do you think that? Why we should continue to trust the process?
For me, it's not even about trusting the process. I don't think by any means that AEW is perfect. I think it's definitely, though, a product that... And we kind of touched on this a couple of weeks ago on a podcast, which I think kind of gave us the idea for today, as well as that car conversation, is that like we all have, everyone in with any art, medium, whatever, has a built-in bias as to what they like.
Is it bias or preference?
Yeah, maybe preference. Like we listen to different genres of music. I think AEW and WWE, while both are pro wrestling, they're different genres of pro wrestling, and my preference is more towards the AEW style.
Which is what?
Like how do we like? So I think WWE is like kind of a mix of your Disney / like almost Marvel superhero type thing, and I think AEW is more of a
DC Universe car crash.
It's definitely not DC Universe.
Easy now.
I think AEW is more of like nearly kind of more like Oscar bait.
I knew,
I don't say that as a compliment.
No, but you're doing it almost as a, like, oh, it's Disney, it's that kind of...
But it is, though.
And then this is Oscar prestige.
Because I don't see Oscar bait as being a good thing.
What's me about Oscar bait?
So,
it's
like...
prestige.
So you think of an Oscar bait movie.
Yeah.
Like, what's a really good example of that? Did you remember the one a few years ago?
The Wrestler.
The Irishman.
The Irishman doesn't really fit in because it does fit in some ways, but I think a really good example of it is, remember Green Book?
Yeah.
Won the Oscar a few years ago. So it had some great performances. I thought the two lead performances, Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, put in brilliant performances. But like it's this kind of, in the end, like in some ways kind of generic storytelling that in some ways masquerades as having more weight and depth. When does it really have much weight and depth?
How does that transfer to AEW?
So again, I think what a lot of, and this is both the best and worst of AEW, is sometimes what they do has real weight and depth, but a lot of other stuff that happens within the company is masquerading as that weight and depth.
I would put that more as a Marvel thing, because Marvel, right at the start, it hooks you and it's amazing. And you have this whole interconnected universe. And now we're at that phase where things are starting to get muddy and other things aren't paying off. And this character isn't coming back. And we've got, at the end of the Eternals, you've got the whole kind of tease of Blade or whatever. And then you're like, when's that happening? Oh, right, that's fallen off. Oh,
it's kind of paint by numbers.
That's been delayed.
Yeah.
And
I can see that comparison being valid as well. When I say like about WWE, like what I mean is, WWE is such a corporate monster.
Do you think WWE is catered for merchandise sales?
It's not only merchandise, it's IP.
IP, yeah.
And like
wrestling figures.
Like everything. It's
spin-offs.
Everything. Spin-offs, the whole lot.
But that's part of the fandom, though.
Yeah, but I think they're like driven towards that. Like if you look at like,
so you'd make a corporate decision ahead of a decision for art.
Or
I don't like, you look at the prices of WrestleMania. This is something that is making me like really annoyed at WWE. Like some of the dynamic pricing.
The regular fan has been priced out.
Exactly. They keep going on about...
I hate dynamic pricing.
They keep going on about... we've set this record and set this. Yeah, well, that's because you're charging people out of nose.
Yeah.
And you're charging them for less of the product.
That's actually a reason. Sorry, as referee, just jumping in here, but that's actually a reason why I got started during my turn off with AEW was that I was losing faith in the product and what was kind of going on screen, and yet they had like Tony Schiavone or Excalibur talking about how much money they were making, and I was going, it's gratuitous. Like I don't care. It's kind of
I don't care.
It's like, why would I, as a fan who can barely afford to sit in the bleachers at these events, why would I like care about how much money you as a billionaire?
Well, I think that's a silly part of the tribalism as well.
Yeah, the Bad Blood WWE show, they came out and announced like, this is our highest gate ever in this city.
Yeah, crazy shit.
Why are you telling us that? You're just telling us that you charged us more.
Yeah.
But this is a point I've been making for a long time on the pod in general, right? And maybe some of my biases against WWE stem from this, right? I've said loads of times, a long time MMA fan. And I think it was 2016 was when Endeavor bought out UFC, this big $4 billion deal. And I've seen a steady decline of the product since then, along with a steady increase in revenue and profits.
Yeah.
And then Endeavor then come along and buy out WWE a couple of years ago, and they merged this thing into TKO. And so I have an inherent distrust of the parent company because, like, this year in particular is the least I've loved UFC because I just think the product has like dramatically fallen off a cliff, and I don't know if like I can't predict the future, but if they take similar business decisions as they have done in the past with UFC to WWE, it's going to hurt the product and it's going to hurt the fans and it's going to hurt in the pockets.
And you see it so they already have the Prime logo now at every event.
The logo's on the ring.
The pay-per-views have 5 matches and the rest is ads.
Yeah.
So some of the matches are sponsored matches.
Yeah. So like that,
AEW have done sponsored matches
Cracker
as well.
Barrel match.
Like particularly one of the reasons why they were so valuable to WBD and is so they can do like Shark Week promos on their Wednesday night TV show. They can do the Dragon.
The AEW ones always seem like kind of WCW cheap RoboCop.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Rather than what WWE do.
What was that game that like really weird long name game, or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game?
Yeah.
There's another one as well that they were promoting. You're like,
there's another one.
WWE have done that as well.
Like that's the
Army of the Dead lumberjack match.
Yeah, that was the worst thing.
That was the worst, but that was like back with Vince McMahon, and that I think that cartoony
we'll see
nonsense,
that again. That's not going to go away.
I think that cartoony nonsense has.
I guarantee
we're investing in real characters.
But I guarantee within the next 12 months there'll be a WWE
sponsored
match that's sponsored. Yeah, remember the Bray Wyatt one? What was that one?
Oh, the Lights Out, Mountain Dew Lights Out. But that was when Vince was back as well. But I suppose it was still kind of during that mucky era.
That's not. Triple H will never have a say on that.
Yeah,
like whatever his booking style is, he will never have a say in that because he has corporate overlord.
Yeah,
what do you enjoy more now? Let's get into the wrestling.
Okay, so I will say, I most certainly over the years have been guilty of hate watching WWE.
So have I.
And looking, like basically watching it to find things that I didn't like.
And post and sticking in WhatsApp.
I don't really post online, but sticking like
I was almost been like, they did something right, and just trying to champion it or giving myself a reason to keep watching. Going, well, this all sucks, and I was kind of going, well, that's the great thing about wrestling. If I don't like this
I was actively looking for shit to give out about.
Yeah.
Damn it, I cursed.
But that's not what I'm doing with AEW. I'm not looking for stuff to give out about.
Yeah, but see, I'm
just naturally coming across it.
I don't think you know you're doing it. Because, and I tell you, I didn't know I was doing it. And do you know what snapped me out of it? Was when me and you started reviewing pay-per-views on this, and I was like, right, does it matter if I actually like the product? Because I have to give, like, if we're coming on to review something, we're critics.
Yeah.
So what's my role as a critic? it's not to fucking hate watch. It's to like kind of give an objective or unbiased overview of what I've just watched. And that has actually made me enjoy the pay-per-views more. I'm more open to things, and it's made me become more accepting of some of what I think are bad booking from Triple H.
For a big thing that comes, you mentioned it already about 5 pay-per-view matches, the rest are ads. And I immediately can jump to that defense and go, well, it's more digestible because you have breaks. Everyone's picking up their phone. Everyone's writing stuff online, not on Twitter. How can you watch the show if you're constantly tweeting about it? But like, you know, they're giving you 10-minute gaps to go, take your pace, go on to Twitter or whatever, see what other people are saying. And then they're leaving big matches like Gunther and Sammy for Raw. So it makes it, I have to tune in for that, which I started doing or seeking out, going, this is a big thing that's happening on SmackDown. Here's the tag team titles happening over here. They're making stuff must watch. Whereas AEW, they're just like, here's 4 hours, here's 47 matches. And it's balls to the wall the whole time. And sometimes the stuff in the matches doesn't really matter then on Dynamite or anything like that. Like I only found out Bandito has been out for like the past 14 months. In my head, I was like, he could have been on Collision for all I knew because
he's coming back soon, I think.
But like, it's rinse and repeat with certain wrestlers. So, Malachi Black is someone they give him a big push when they want him to go up against Edge, and then he's fallen off. You look at all their.
You could do that though. You could say that about WWE wrestlers as well. Like that is wrestling. Unfortunately, there's only enough space for everybody. I think there's a balance. I think both companies are wrong at the moment. I think I think it's actually right in the middle.
7 is the sweet spot. Matches.
7 is sweet spot. Less ads. And more time to breed. I think there's a sweet spot.
I've said for like I think 8 is probably a really good number.
Yeah, exactly.
Not 10. What did
see the problem with
Wrestle Dream was 9, wasn't it? And that was the one I came on here and said. And I don't think many people would agree with this, but I felt to me that was the best pay-per-view of the year. I thought
you
they
said
actually
after every AEW.
No, I didn't. No, because up to now it was Revolution first thing. That was my number 1 pay-per-view of the year. But I felt after Wrestle Dream, I was like, that card just flowed so well compared to other one. Like other matches had higher highs, or other pay-per-views had higher highs, but they also had lower lows.
But it makes more sense to have a pay-per-view of 7 or 8 matches where if you feel like the like this comes down to the booking. Like if you feel like their pay-per-view needs to breed a little bit more, let the match last a bit longer, drag out the entrances. What happens a little bit with AEW now is everything runs over, so by the time you get to the last 2 matches, it's boom, boom, boom. Yeah, like the Derby Jungle Boy match.
Yeah, and they really suffered.
They really suffered, yeah. While at WWE, it's the exact opposite. There's only 5 matches, so they're actually introducing all this soap opera bullshit into the matches, into almost everything now. It's really it started with the Bloodline, but it's now got way into
that Bad Blood pay-per-view. Like,
and now
I came out with that pay-per-view been like, I really enjoyed that, but that was because of Punk and Drew.
Yeah,
the rest of that card,
sure, you enjoyed that match.
But that soap opera stuff with like where they're talking to each other and you can hear them.
Yeah,
like the actual
it's
wrestling
ruining Rhea.
Yeah,
it's ruining Rhea.
Like Rhea's coming across as cringy almost.
Yeah. And like we've seen her like tell great stories.
But like I have said stuff like that. That Rhea is coming across as cringy, and you know I don't really like. I know with Jay Cargill, she botches something. And I always say if you botch something like. That's not a real critique. That's just, you know...
People botch stuff. Like, that's great wrestlers.
I think we've all grown up to say, like, we don't go on with the botches anymore.
No, but like that, I think I critique WWE as well. It's just, I find there's more to critique in AEW. Like, my recent criticism over the violence in AEW, which you had Hangman and Swerve, but... Preceding that, you had the bag incident where someone else was trying to get murdered, and then preceding that, you had someone going into tax doing the splits, and I'm just like, well, like cool. Once I see that, and then I go and see that, I'm basically, it's almost like, you know, if you watch a CZW card, you know, here's a death match, here's that, that's cool, that's cool, I've seen that. Yeah,
I think that's a fair point because I think there's no seemingly backstage. No one's backstage going, I have a table spot in the main event, so don't use table in the earlier part. Which was something I learned from reading about wrestling in the 90s.
I remember watching the next NXT Black and Gold pay-per-view, and I was like, every motherfucker in every match, are doing a knee of some kind of, the V trigger kind of knee.
Yeah.
I remember Tommaso Ciampa did it.
Yeah, Kenny. Kenny got
like when
this is in
got the
NXT.
V trigger over,
And the
then
super kicks.
everyone started using it.
Yeah.
And when the super kicks started coming over, and Vince had to pull up the sign in the back going, no knee slap.
Only the Usos.
Yeah.
But I just think there's more to criticize in the past 2 years of AEW, and I think AEW are somewhat acknowledging it by their whole John
Restore
Moxley.
the feeling as well.
Yeah, like they've acknowledged it. So people going, "Oh, yeah, inherent WWE bias." Well, no, they're acknowledging that something wasn't right. They weren't booking properly. Every time one of their world champions lost, their story for them was they go away for a few months.
I like that.
I like that as well. I don't
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Like, I know Roman did, and I know Seth did due to injury, but Damien didn't.
It used to happen a good bit as well, though.
I know, but I feel like as well, Damien actually could have done with it. Looking at where he's at now, yeah.
Nah,
He's starting to cool a bit.
Is that like they don't really do rematch clauses and stuff?
But
so,
if you're
like MJF took 3 months off, he was your world champion.
he was
Samoa
injured-
Joe
he was
took
injured.
took a while off.
if you're world champ for
Swerve went into the Hangman and then took time off.
But if you're world champ for 8 or 9 months, like you're carrying the show for that. Like it's not like a hot potato world title where it could be moving side to side every month. Like you do probably need a lot of time off after that. So
maybe
makes sense.
if it's a physical thing, I'm just saying from a
Like,
storyline
MJF
perspective.
got shoulder surgery.
But I'm talking storyline. Like say if we're talking like AEW is a legitimate sport, kayfabe wise, then someone and say in UFC, like if someone loses their title, you mightn't see them for fucking.
Yeah, we're not going to see Sean O'Malley for 12 months.
12 months.
It's a different sport, though.
But I think AEW, but I think AEW, they veer towards that as if kayfabe is like why don't they go more cartoony?
It's a valid point. It was just like the Bucks lost the tag team titles to Private Party. Now they're taking time off.
Yeah, that's like massively tied to a storyline as well, though.
They were being Chris Daniels was saying, "Where are you going?" I saw that clip there,
and they were like, "We're working from home."
Yeah,
and like that's all tied to the Mox thing. Is like,
and
they're scared. They're scared.
Yeah,
like,
Daniels
what
like,
have we
"Don't
done
you
here?"
can't. You've done this. You can't let this. You can't leave us like this." You know,
Yeah, there's like, no, we need to get out of here.
Bobby Lashley comes in.
Yeah,
like
Shane just doesn't acknowledge that.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
What I do
Bobby
like
Lashley
about
comes in, and I'm kind of like, if I like the Hurt Business when they're in W, and they didn't really go anywhere after the pandemic era.
last night was their first time in front of a live audience.
Yeah, now
That's
I'm
mental.
like, if Bobby Lashley, how long is he going to get this push? And he's just going to fade away.
He might
into the background,
But
like so many before him.
I know, but I also think though.
So it's hard to invest in the character
what
and
you
in
need
the
to realize
characters on
as well
screen.
is like a lot of these guys who faded away have done it to themselves. They haven't like gotten over or worked
Wardlow
hard enough.
got over.
Yeah, but he lost tremendous amount of steam when
Why?
he was on TV every week.
Why?
He's a big guy. You need
Because
to
of the
protect.
booking.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't just his booking. Like
He was dropping titles to
no,
Samoa Joe.
no, when he did,
He's exposed a bit, I think.
I thought he got exposed.
I don't think
Yeah,
he got
yeah.
exposed.
I thought
She
I
kept
thought
doing
he
the
got-
same thing over and over again every match. After a while, like
Sure,
it's
Goldberg got over doing that.
I
in
know,
the
but-
90s.
Hobbs,
Injured.
But he comes and goes all the time. Miro was the same.
Miro won't take a loss.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean when I say that they did it to themselves.
like with Miro, they made a big deal when he came back. Remember that? Was it Hobbs he was fighting? The big meaty men slapping meat, and then I was like, "This is cool," and then they just both kind of went into obscurity.
With Miro, like he's been offered loads of angles or like creative direction, and he's turning it down.
The Death Triangle
work for
came
me,
and
brother.
went
about
15 different
problem
times.
with Death Triangle is
Pax passport.
and also
Lucha Brothers leaving.
they both had visa issues at different times as well.
Yeah, but
like that's why
I'm just saying it's hard to get invested in characters on the screen, and they're coming and going and dropping in to and from.
But back then, I was totally invested. Like I agree with a lot of your points. I think the issue I would have with sometimes the way you raise your points is that WWE stuff are or have to, like, if you get deeper into WWE, ignore the main event stuff and go into the undercard, there's a lot of nonsense going on.
I think the undercard has been the best it's been in years.
I think it's gone back to complete nonsense.
I don't like the way the Chad Gable and Otis story never really got resolved.
White Six is booked atrociously.
I was going to raise Chad Gable and White Six. Chad Gable had like worked like an absolute beast and gotten over massively. And then they pushed him into this, just as he re-signed a new contract, pushed him into this Wyatt 6 thing that has gone absolutely nowhere. And now they're off kidnapping the Miz and all.
With Final Testament. And
yeah, I'm just like, I was super invested in Chad Gable. And just,
but I
nowhere.
trust where they're going to go now with American Made, with the
I
Creed
hope so, but
brothers
like, I feel like they've missed the peak of
but
where
like
Gable
you look
was.
at LA Knight, he's getting over in the undercard. You look at the Intercontinental title between
about
went from
Otis?
Jay and Braun Breaker. Otis is in a joke tag team with Tozawa.
Yeah, but he was getting really over there a while
Look
ago.
at Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Like, they fucking had a cracker match on Raw.
The
And
two or three cracker.
now you have Bronson Reed going up. Like,
But,
you have,
cracker
you have-
matches are not like AEW can pull out cracker matches every day. of the
Yeah,
week.
but
So-
the story based around it is like Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, but see,
that's
like,
the background of the
also
story.
we can go down the card in AEW and be like outside the main event and like say the Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher stuff is awesome. The Private Party and Buck stuff was really great.
It's coming to fruition because it looks like it's major. It's been a major focus, but for the
The
past,
Hangman Jay White stuff, you know, like they're the equivalent levels of what we're talking about, like has been outside of the main event picture.
but is it fair to say that the focus on the stuff outside of the main event picture was lacking? You had it muddied with all the ROH stuff. You had it muddied with, here's a new title. Now here's a new title.
Yeah.
Oh, Okada's in. We can't put him in the main event scene. We're just going to give him this title. You know?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we look back in 5 years at this period of AEW and go, that was such a low point, but they got their shit together.
But
Like, the
I think
international title had 3 different names before.
I think their shit has been together for about what were we now?
Well, we won't know for sure.
I know, yeah, but I feel like their shit has been together for about the last
Like, you need payoff.
3 to 4 months.
like the Adam
Up and down the card. I
Yeah.
actually feel like
I think like Swerve Hangman.
their main event scene has been excellent since Samoa Joe took the title off MJF last December. They've had the main event scene right all year.
Yeah, but they were kind of bleeding fans as it was happening.
Yes,
so
yeah.
so people weren't there to kind of keep along with it and watch it.
But during that time, like what we're saying, the undercard was in a bit of a mess and in a bit of trouble.
Tag division.
Tag division, well, like, you know, they took the titles off Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and obviously that was First Thing's retirement. And like that main event did Revolution, fantastic, and then the tag division got really muddied again. But like you can see there, since around the build to and out of All In, I feel like they've got 6 or 7 programs up and down the card that they've been like firing on all cylinders on.
You still have Christian in the background as well.
Yeah, like there's things and things are connecting together again like they did in the early days.
But I'm all for that. I'm just saying that
But I don't think
for
they
a
get
long
the credit for that
for a
either.
long time it was just
The mid card for a long time was a mess.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily WWE bias.
But,
I am enjoying WWE
I do agree.
more.
I
It's
think
just
another
AEW
thing to
wasn't good enough to hold my attention.
I
that's
think
fair.
another thing to consider as well is like when it goes to these like the guys disappearing in and out is if you take Swerve as an example of a guy who came over to the company from WWE, not one of their biggest signings, not a big marquee signing, but a guy that we all thought was excellent because you seen him live in the flesh and
OTT.
Kind of like a Steve Austin acquisition from WCW.
Yeah,
Kind of
under the radar.
Under the radar, yeah.
It comes in, does a couple of single stuff off the bat, then does some tremendous tag team work, and then he goes singles again, and he's kind of like getting thrown in and out of things, but he's always on TV, he's winning some, he's losing some, he's willing to take a loss,
But the fans,
he's trying lots of different things,
getting
but
behind him.
over time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think a lot of other guys who've come in, and this is what we'll see, what's Bobby Lashley willing to do, you know? And if it's a thing of like, I'm not saying that like Bobby will come in and say I'm not losing to anyone, but like if it's a thing of like, is Bobby after? Because I think this initial Hurt Business stuff is going to go really well. I think the key for Bobby is like, you know, that'll run out of steam at some stage.
Is it going to go well, or is Jake Roberts going to come over and go, I'm going to swap you Roosh there for Shelton Benjamin?
That's
How about that? Like there are Premier League stickers.
When we talk about your
Shiny,
bias,
have,
when we
have.
talk about
I like
your
that.
bias,
I
this
like
is exactly the issue.
Yeah.
But like,
but you make these
when I
equivalences
asked
for like all sorts.
what happened with Lance Archer? Oh, he's after going to the Don Callis family.
No, before you get into that,
Why?
Now he's in a deadly tag team with Brian Cage.
He was making a good point there, and you've kind of false equivocated against something.
It's a false equivalent.
You're fucking AEW, Mark.
No, that's a false.
It's not a false equivalent.
No, it is a false.
No. See, I'm actually in agree. I just don't think I'm as strong in terms of my the venom I have for the product.
I don't have venom towards it. I'm just saying this is silly.
That sounds venomous. That sounds
this is silly and stupid. That Jake Roberts is now the
Almar's going to have turned off the podcast.
Sorry, Alan. LFI. He's now the head. He's after swapping over Lance Archer to go to the Don Callis family.
I like that.
You're like, who the fuck? There was other lads in the Don
managers
transfer.
Roosh was in the Don Callis family. They were like, we don't know what we're going to do with him. You know what? We'll swap him back over.
And now Lance Archer has a cracker little tag team going with Brian Cage.
Yeah.
And LFI
Brian Cage is in it. And how many? He was Gates of Agony. Where are they?
They're doing their angle at the minute.
Are they with Cage?
No.
What happened with Cage of Agony?
You're doing it.
But what happened? Like, I'm trying, because I'm not watching. I'm asking someone who's watching. What's happening?
The way you're doing it.
What's happening with Cage?
Cage left Gates of Agony, and they're doing their cutting promos about Cage fucking off on them.
Oh, wow. And he's now Cage is in the Don Callis family.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Teaming
with
Lance
Fletcher.
Archer.
It's kind of interesting.
With Davis, where's he? Davis
came back last night. We don't know where he stands really.
Don't know where he stands. He's going to get swapped over.
It's called storytelling.
Yeah, like Chris Statlander.
It's called story.
Remember that story?
I came on here and said that was dog shit.
Because Chris Statlander was like, I'm with Stoke and we're going up against Willow, and then they're like, we need a baby face.
You're false
just like Edge in the Judgment Day. We need a baby face.
You're false equivocating. Nice. One thing and then smearing everything with it.
I'm not. History.
When the Brian Cage and Lance Archer stuff that happened was perfectly logical.
Come on now. Lance Archer leaving Jake Roberts after been doing nothing for fucking ages.
You're on a yellow card.
Nonsense.
No,
nonsense.
Like,
you're going false equivalency, and I was just talking about. Listen. Let me speak.
If you're Lance Archer,
if you're Lance Archer,
no. We'll give him 30 seconds.
You're talking about false equivalency, right? I just said a thing about Stat and Stokely Hathaway and the chopping and changing of face and heel dynamics, right? MJF and Adam Cole. That's not false equivalency. This is a history of this thing being done. So it's not. It is going. I can't invest in these people under these circumstances because they're getting chopped and changed all around, and I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, okay, pause. But you compared that to the Swerve stuff. We were talking about Swerve's build, and you jumped in on the Premier League stickers stuff.
Oh, we're talking about the Hurt Business. Or the Hurt Syndicate.
The Hurt Syndicate, whatever. And you jumped in.
And I'm just saying, how can I invest in Bobby Lashley and his new
that's
faction?
what you gotta do.
And his new faction.
But at what point,
if he's going to end up joining the Hardy Party family.
But at what point do you? I suppose this is kind of comes down to WWE as well. Like at some stage, you're going to have to either say what they're doing is really good, and I'm back, and I trust the product. But I kind of feel at the moment you'll never do that.
I think Eric Rowan.
I don't think you're allowing yourself.
I think Eric Rowan and Dragon Lee should be swapped. Eric Rowan going to the LWO and Dragon Lee going to the Wyatt.
You're done. 30.
Bo Dallas and Santos Escobar.
You're barred.
Need to do a trade.
You're on a yellow.
I can't even remember what my point was. But yeah, basically, like the Chris Statlander stuff, we all know is dog shit. Like there's no
one
is defending that. It's like literally everyone says that was dog shit. Should have been handled way better. Where was the foresight? Where was the foresight? Where was the pre-planning? But like we all know that Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin aren't leaving MVP for a long, long time. I don't know. Like if you think like there's no way you could actually think that that's happening. I don't care about your trust.
You don't. No, you don't.
You don't.
Lashley's going to be on Rampage against Shibata.
Stop.
I would watch that Rampage.
Stay serious.
I would watch.
That's going to happen.
If Lashley wrestles Shibata on Rampage, what's wrong with that? Give him a win.
Give him a win. Shibata is part of the conglomeration.
It's the insinuation.
Is Shibata in the conglomeration?
Yeah, no, but Lashley and Shibata on Rampage would be excellent.
Lashley and Kyle O'Reilly.
Do you not like the? Do you not? You just said it is Lashley in the conglomeration, whatever it's called. Do you like the fact that AEW put everyone in stables?
I do not mind the fact that these are actually people that have friendships
backstage,
that are like, you know what, we're going to be a faction. But it's the lack of. It seems to me that from a storytelling perspective, they're like, I don't know what to do with all these people. So to get them all on TV at the same time, I'm going to throw them in as factions. That's what it seems. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like
no, I don't. I think it's like what used to happen in New Japan. Well, what still happens in New Japan, where you go there. It's like I got laughed at it for some reason when we did a pod with John Martin before, but I compared it to prison. You arrive in the prison yard and you're basically on your own, and you're like, everyone is in a gang. If I'm going to make it here, I have to join a gang.
Yeah, but there has to be from a story point of view, there has to be a reason for all.
But there always is a reason.
They're getting swapped around like Premier League cards.
Yeah, but that's like a managerial's role is to continually better his. So it's like, okay, I got an unbelievable left winger here, but he's not actually fitting in with the team.
Yeah.
So I need to swap him for someone I know will fit in the team. Lance Archer needed to go.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a viable storytelling?
Yeah, I think it's a good way. I think it's interesting and it's
different.
New.
It's different. Yeah.
I think it's something different.
I'll give you that.
I like that. I thought I was like, I haven't really I'm sure this has happened in wrestling history.
I guarantee you,
it used to happen. Like they'd all vie for managerial services and stuff.
Yeah,
and but that was just a
Mr. Perfect went from Heenan to the Genius.
Macho Man debuted Miss Elizabeth by not going with Lou Albano and all that kind of stuff.
I think another big part of it for me is why and look, you watch anything for 5 years, you as a fan or a viewer or whatever, you're going to have peaks and troughs in what you're enjoying and what you're not enjoying. I haven't enjoyed AEW on the same level the whole way through. No way. But I've certainly enjoyed it more than WWE, basically the entirety of those 5 years. And I also think as well, though, I think Paul Triple H Levesque?
You fucked his name.
Levesque gets away with murder as a booker.
What?
He gets away with murder. There's kids' gloves around his booking, and so many people are afraid to call out that a lot of his booking is trash. He gets away with murder.
What's trash?
Look at the last...
Sweeping general statement there.
Okay,
examples.
Let's break down the Bad Blood card, right? First match, perfect.
10 out of 10.
Literally 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right? Second match was...
That was Punk and
Drew was the first match, sorry.
Okay.
The second match was the Nia Jax? Not Nyla Rose.
Nia
Jax versus Bayley with the Tiffany Stratton kind of running and all that. I actually didn't mind that. It made sense for the storyline. The third match then was the Finn and Priest match. That was a booking travesty in many respects, right? Firstly, this is supposed to be a super hot story, and it's the first time they're facing after Finn cost him the title.
2 years of storyline.
Match was dead. Okay, and now maybe you can forgive Triple H for that. But something went wrong in the build to it that it had no heat. Then the heel, this is like a program that's supposed to be ongoing, as we've evidenced on TV afterwards. He's still fighting against the Judgment Day. The heel loses the first match after his two henchmen interfere, and the heel hits 3 finishers on the babyface, and the babyface still wins. Okay, where's the jeopardy now for the heel faction? He literally wiped out the whole faction in one match.
I think
that's bad booking.
Give him 30 seconds to defend that match.
I think the sneakiness of Finn by saying, you better watch your back, is something that they're going to call back upon.
Yeah, but Priest already won the match and took out the whole faction.
Yeah, and they're meant to be a chicken shit heel faction, right?
I know, but they have to win that first match.
Dirty Dom in their side.
They have to win the first match.
I don't. I trust the process.
Okay, next. What was that?
Next match was Liv versus Rhea in Dominic in a shark cage.
I didn't enjoy that.
That was shite, and the booking in it was poor as well. And
it was cool seeing Dom come fall.
Yeah,
that was funny, really funny.
What was poor about the booking?
Also, he booked a Mexican kid to be a piñata. There's already enough racial controversy surrounding the company. Carlito says the Japanese thing. There's all the stuff about, or the Chinese thing. There's all the stuff about no black representation on the card. Their way of combating that is, hey, here's 2 black women to be the hosts. Like, and then you have a Mexican guy be a piñata hanging out the shark head.
Defend Mexican guy in a piñata.
I thought it was a cool visual.
Don't get me wrong.
I didn't even think of a Mexican guy as a
Funny
piñata.
enough, I also did not think it was Mexican in a piñata and thought it was a cool visual. But now that you've said it, I feel bad for thinking that.
I thought
also the booking of the matches.
I thought Rhea looked cheesy coming out.
Yeah,
and the booking of it, Rhea going, I'll come back to live. I'm just going to have my fun with Dom first. And that's silly. I agree with you.
And that was the third match in a row where there was outside interference involved in the finish. And then we go on to the main event, the tag match. I feel like the Solo Sikoa experiment has kind of failed. He's not ready yet.
But has it also accentuated another star in Jacob Fatu? So by proxy of that storyline, maybe not 100%.
Don't get me wrong. The storyline has massively helped Jacob Fatu. But I also think Jacob Fatu has helped Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I know.
I think by having Solo as...
The presentation of him is booking.
Yeah, the presentation of him, don't get me wrong.
The fact Bron Breakker and Jacob Fatu looked at each other and said
place went mental.
Yeah. That's good booking.
Yeah.
That's people wanting to see that.
Because I'm not saying everything Paul
So the Solo Sikoa stuff, Bloodline, does it feel like Bloodline Light? And is there a comparison to
NWO 2000?
Well, kind of, but also we spoke about Marvel earlier. Like Endgame has happened. We've had the Bloodline disappearance, and now we're in that post Endgame Marvel era where it's you don't really care anymore. You've got the new Captain America, and it's like, is this as much fun?
Can I get back into this match, right? Another huge issue.
Don't talk back to the referee.
With the booking, sorry. Here for me is this. Cody Rhodes is your world heavyweight champion.
What champion?
Right?
What champ?
And he has become a bit part player in the Bloodline saga.
He shouldn't have been in the match.
He shouldn't have been in the match. And he disappears for the finish of the match. And then also he takes the beat down after the match where Roman has to come and save him again. This is your world champion.
He shouldn't be in the match, but also you got to sell tickets, and Cody's...
I get that. And you do your Avengers coming together to take on the other guys.
And you also build up another storyline with...
The Rock.
With Randy Orton and Kevin Owens based off.
That's going on in the background.
But that's booking, though. You can't go, that's going on in the back. That's booking. That's nuance.
Yeah, it
that's
is.
Subtlety.
But you've just basically made your world champion feel secondary in someone else's storyline.
But you can also...
While he could be doing any number of other cool
You can
stuff.
also play into that doubt of Cody feels secondary. He needed to rely on Roman. There's your match in a while.
Yeah. But you've... And there's been one major issue. People online, and I disagree with them, have been saying that Cody Rhodes has been having a bad title run. I don't think he has.
It's a great title run. I've enjoyed every single one of his matches.
Yeah, no.
Maybe
here's an issue.
Solo,
and this is a booking issue specifically. When he came out of Mania the champion, there was no heels ready.
You had to turn AJ.
Yeah.
You had the two matches with AJ, which were cracker matches.
Don't get me wrong. Like that first match with AJ
but
was
the
matches
the
with
second
Logan,
one wasn't good.
Solo and Kevin Owens.
Walter is ready.
I know, but he's on the other side.
Yeah, but say that there's no heels ready. Like, you can't have Cody not win it.
I know,
and they're also...
Then you need to book a heel to be ready.
That's what they're doing with Solo.
There is also a reset. Like, it's Mania, you got to do the reset.
I know, but you book a heel that has risen up the cards.
But I kind of feel it only takes 4 weeks to
you can do that
to build.
But there was literally no heels.
Look at JBL.
Look at JBL.
So AJ comes back.
If you had Bobby there, it would have been great.
And then you had to go into a Logan Paul thing, and Logan Paul hadn't been around for a while. And
Logan was around that period because he was at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but he's another in and out guy. Like AJ's an in and out guy, not the burger place. Just kind of coming. You know what you're criticizing it WWE for or AEW for
Roman fucked off. Roman fucked off.
Yeah, but I feel like they've just in many ways they've Triple H getting all this credit for long term storytelling. When in reality, there's a lot of holes in it.
Well, you could say he is quite good at shifting gears when it's required, because obviously
The Rock.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like the Royal Rumble stuff, The Rock, which clearly was the wrong way to go. He got that, and they found a way to make it work.
Vince never would have doubled back.
No, never.
That.
And I think Tony wouldn't have either.
Possibly not. Tony, I do think, is another guy who, once he has decided the storyline,
like MJF, Adam Cole, along the way you should have gone.
It's funny though, that was supposed to end.
Which MJF and Cole.
Yeah, at All In, that was supposed to be the end of the storyline. And because it was getting over, it was one of the only times Tony has pivoted.
It wasn't getting over.
No,
It wasn't.
Hear me out. The metrics said it was getting over.
The Brochachos.
The
Your
metrics,
world champion was in a tag team
I
called
know.
the Brochachos.
Listen.
And they opened on the pre-show and then main event.
And the kangaroo kick.
I know, but listen.
You made your world champion look like an idiot.
We all hate that storyline. But over that summer,
Yes, we do. The build-up.
before All In.
The vignettes.
When they're doing, like, it's crazy.
With Adam Cole benching, but you can't see the plates, and cameras turning and different perspectives.
And they're playing video games.
It's wrestle crap of Vince McMahon's standard.
We all acknowledge that was shit. We all know it was
That's
shit.
when I dropped off.
Yeah.
But also, and this is the fucked up part, is over that summer, all their segments were the highest rated segments.
Hate watching.
Like, I don't know if it was.
I think
but,
I think it might have been a bit hate watching. Yeah.
it could have been, but like they were doing all the highest segments. So Tony pivoted to keep it going when in reality,
Yeah, that's
shouldn't have.
because
Like,
that's the exact point when I stopped. I used to watch every Dynamite every week. Thursday I'd make sure I had the evening cleared, or if I'd work off in the morning, I'd watch Dynamite. And once I was watching segments where Adam Cole was
playing video games,
playing videos, or he's calling over to the two boys' house and he's washing, he's basically doing housekeeping for them or whatever was going on. That I was done because it had that American shtick comedy thing
that I hate.
that is not funny.
Yeah.
And you're throwing in comedy into areas where there's no comedy required.
It was so
terrible.
it's so bad that it's making me have to build trust once again.
I
the
think
fucking CM
that
Punk issue.
storyline-
We're skirting around
but
the whole
sorry, just to create some balance there, the comedy thing that we just spoke about, that Adam Cole thing, every Raw has a segment like that.
Yeah.
Every Raw, the comedy,
It's not your main event though.
the
is it?
comedy,
No,
it's not your main event, but
it's
the
not.
comedy in WWE is in every Raw. It's why we don't watch 3 hours of Raw, because you'll see R-Truth doing something that is funny on the clips that do really well and go viral, but he's doing a lot of other stuff that isn't so funny.
And he's doing it every week.
He's doing it every week. They have him back now doing it because the undercard is weak again, so they need more R-Truth, more comedy.
Going Pat and valid point. Although I do like R-Truth.
I like R-Truth as well.
But like I hated those dance breaks with Carmella and stuff, but that was Vince crap. I think the CM Punk issues
Well, I think that
had made me inherently maybe dislike some of the roster. So
I think
therefore,
that's a massive part.
so
of why
therefore, I
people,
can't get into the product. Like it's
you both still hold ill will toward the Bucks.
Yeah, 100%. They ruined wrestling.
As you said, they
They
ruined
took my
wrestling.
dream.
And they shattered it.
Yeah.
like
all that stuff.
that event where Danielson and Cole show up, and it was 2 weeks removed from CM Punk or a month
that
removed
was-
from CM.
that's peak.
That's unbelievable. And I'm like, I cannot believe
I'm watching this.
this is wrestling. This is class. And then
I need to talk to someone about this.
it just go, and then the Eddie Kingston feud and the MJF feud, and it was awesome. And then the Hangman stuff, and they did it so well that we actually thought that was a work, and then it proved it was like the whole brawl out stuff. It's a work.
Then Punk got his feelings hurt.
Then it was.
A little bitch.
Come on now. Yellow card.
Okay.
There's your
I can't get yellow card for calling Punk.
Yeah,
Like,
yellow
how
card.
that was handled, you were just like,
It was handled very badly.
what?
It was handled very badly.
It wasn't handled at all. That's the problem.
Actually, yeah.
It wasn't handled.
And then you
at all.
had the whole.
There's not a strong leader. This is going to be ultimately AEW's downfall potentially. Is they need a strong leader backstage who everyone knows is the leader. It's not the Bucks, or it's not. It's basically you can't do everything you want because I make the decisions.
Yeah, well, I do think and there are a lot of reports come out that he does make the final decision.
but making decisions is not just booking the whole card and not having enough time to do it and giving it time.
Yeah.
It's delegating.
Yeah, and
it's
it's
people
also conflict management.
Exactly, and these are the generals who I delegate to. Therefore, you give them as much respect as you give me, and they will feed into me.
He does have a booking committee now, though, doesn't he? Like Jimmy Jacobs is gone for it, so all AEW's problems are apparently solved.
Well, look, I think that whole thing about Jimmy Jacobs.
They've
was
got that lady,
overblown.
the former lady,
Perlman or
something. Yeah,
Petterman?
She's
Jennifer
She's there
Petterman?
for the last 6 or
But I
7
don't
months.
care about any of that. I just care about what I see
But I think
on the
that's
TV.
probably helping what is
Yeah.
being seen on the
Yeah,
TV.
no, I do agree because not like in any one person in particular. I just think there was at some time in the summer a kind of a creative reshift or reshuffle, and we're really starting to see the
benefit. But like I can admit, like, you know, I'm watching more clips now of AEW because the Moxley stuff is interesting.
Yeah.
The Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher stuff is interesting.
I'm loving the Hangman Jay White stuff as well.
Yeah, the fact that Shelton Benjamin is maybe it's making it more digestible in a shorter form. So when I'll start going, right, I want to seek this out now. I want to seek this out. Now I need to see it as a whole. Yeah, like, as opposed to like seeing cool clips and not really having any, because you can watch a compilation video, but you know, the story behind it is what makes it.
What I think they've done really well is last night's Dynamite was just like the second time in the last 2 or 3 months where I was like actively like anticipating it. You know what I mean? It wasn't that like I watched a Dynamite the day after on a Thursday and really enjoyed it. I was like, oh God, that was a good show. Is that I knew in advance this is going to be a good show. They've built it and advertised it well to me for the first or second time in several months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, AEW have a big issue where they used to have, now correct me if I'm wrong if this has changed, but where they will have a big thing that happens at the pay-per-view that gets a lot of hype and heat and
they don't really follow.
Yeah, exactly. They do no follow. A Dynamite start. You're waiting for Dynamite starting Wednesday or on the Thursday whenever it's on,
and not. It was like, I just saw this cool thing. Why am I not?
Cold opening. Yeah. Nothing to do with the big cool thing.
Yeah, no.
Rather than having old school Rock coming down talking about what just happened at the pay-per-view. Like
last couple of weeks, like they have been really good with like centering the show at various intervals around the Moxley stuff.
Yeah.
That's
like
good.
I used to like get Dynamite and look forward to say promo battles. I'd like, Punk and MJF are going to be promoing off.
Yeah.
Or Kingston and anything to
whoever.
Punk, really.
I love that.
Anything to do with Kingston.
It was great.
You
know?
Do you think AEW, the kind of decline in, say, numbers and stuff is directly related to Cody leaving and Punk leaving?
I want to touch upon the Cody thing just really quickly, and I've said this before. Cody Rhodes is one of my favorite wrestlers, and that's because bar the Anthony Ogogo stuff in AEW, I loved like all the stories he told in matches. I loved the way he wrestled. That not everything was so crisp. In the last 5 minutes of a match, he's not able to do the same stuff that he's able to do at the start of the match.
He's just so full of heart.
Yeah, he's so full of heart, and he got it. I think when that dynamic shift as well with Tony, which may have been a reason why he left and he's gone to WWE, my fandom may have gone to WWE in that sense, because I enjoy watching him wrestle. I enjoy the stories then that he's told in WWE. Yeah. He's an old school babyface. The fact that he got over in WWE in the manner in which he did without being a heel first, I think is tremendous.
He did get over though partially because he had left AEW.
Oh yeah,
well, he came in with the exact same presentation.
Same presentation, but all the WWE I think toxic fans would have just wanted to hype him anyway.
Yeah.
And then,
but I think this is actually a really.
I wasn't. I hate WWE around that time.
This is actually a really strange situation, right? Because it was clear at the time he had gotten stale in AEW. That was clear at the time.
Yeah.
And it was also clear at the time that...
So he had to turn heel.
That, like, this Codyverse mentality was starting to come in. And towards the end of his run, a lot of that wasn't good, even though at the early days, a lot of that was sensational.
Can you explain the Codyverse? So, like, stuff happening in AEW...
Surrounding Cody.
That is so abstract to the actual product.
Yeah, felt like it was outside of the general rest of the
canon, and it also was presented in a more sports entertainment way.
Yeah. And I think like he was starting to build like a kind of a disconnect with the core fan base of AEW. So to me, at the time when he was going to WWE, I was like, this makes perfect sense. He actually needs out. But I also think like it did, and I don't think it hurt AEW initially.
It did.
No, not straight off. What I mean is, I think it really hurt AEW down the line when I don't think any of us could have predicted how over he was going to get.
No.
None of us would have thought that.
That Hell in a Cell match is Seth Rollins.
That was it.
Comes out with the peg.
Yeah, that was the moment.
Because there was always the chance that he would go over there and Vince would go, not really, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
beat
gonna
him
put-
up
I thought fans were going to turn against him at the Rumble when he comes in late. Gunther's after last in the distance.
Yeah.
Everyone was like wanting Gunther to win, and then Cody comes in. I thought we were going to get like a Roman fucking situation,
But we didn't.
because he's such a good storyteller.
Yeah, and I think like where it hurt AEW was that little bit down the line when he got mega over. When he, like, none of us thought he was going to get over to the point where his house show run was outdrawing anything Roman had ever done. His merch was outselling everything Roman had ever done.
Yeah,
and he
Nash-
became pushed to the moon though because he was beating Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brett Brock Lesnar like 3 times.
But I disagree.
Rollins
I disagree that it didn't hurt AEW immediately, because as soon as Cody leaves AEW as one of the founding members of AEW,
There is that.
There's already
a perception.
There's a
thing.
shattering of what of what
the mission step.
Yeah, exactly, and that it's a perfect place. Suddenly, like, oh, maybe it's actually a shit show there. So then you start to doubt booking decisions and production values and why the books are doing this and whatever it is. But like, you start to doubt a lot of things. So I think it actually hurt
Maybe
AEW
it did
immediately.
Yeah. I always felt it didn't hurt immediately because, but then again, I suppose we are type of fans who kind of know more about what's going on behind the scenes. So maybe
it might be to our own detriment.
It's definitely to our own detriment. But I think maybe to the general fan, that perception, there might have been a perception shift, like instantly, like what you're saying. Whereas to me, it kind of came later with how over he got. And to go to the punk thing, well, the whole Punk thing, as we said, about the handling of it or lack thereof, that definitely hurt the perception of the company. Him going back to WWE, I don't know. I don't think numbers-wise that had an effect on AEW.
Oh, it did. It absolutely did.
No, I think their numbers were already gone down at that stage.
Nah, like they weren't as strong. Like Collision obviously wasn't as strong as it was. And
True,
so,
maybe Collision. Although, the funny thing about Collision is, and Punk Marks won't speak about this, is
because it's probably not true.
no, this is true. It's a verifiable fact. Punk's last 4 weeks on Collision did terrible numbers.
No, they did worse. They didn't do terrible numbers. They did
worse than what
numbers.
his first 4 weeks.
Yeah,
did.
but obviously that's the way it works.
Yeah, but on one of them shows, on one of the 4 where his segment tanked, was a bloody Brochacho's tag match that did the best number in the history of Collision.
But the thing about the Punk stuff is, again, he moves over to WWE and his segments become must see
On WWE,
On
yeah.
WWE, and like you're going into YouTube and they're getting like
Mad views, yeah.
4 million views, and everything else is getting 600,000.
Don't get me wrong. Punk took fans with him, and Cody took fans with him.
Punk put me in his pocket and brought me across the way.
Yeah. So like they are factors, definitely.
Yeah, and it's
But, like,
the
I think
but
you're
again,
gonna-
it's the handle. It's not. So it's a multitude
All right,
of
lads,
factors.
calm down. Come on.
All
Yellow
right,
card.
Oh, damn it.
So yeah, I think I suppose
finish what you're saying.
But yeah, I just think it's I kind of forget now. It's a multitude of factors. It's him leaving WWE. It's him getting over in WWE.
Yeah.
It's the WWE fans embracing him. It's the fact that he's slightly shitting on it, AEW a lot actually. It's that AEW clearly
Such a liar,
AEW clearly didn't handle it in. Well, he's not really a liar. Like
No,
Kenny has still come out and now said that he wanted to settle it, as did Punk, and that.
Oh, sorry, no, I was talking about Cody.
Yeah, so
What's Cody a liar? What's he said? He hasn't
Cody's
said anything
still
about it.
claiming that he was a former Bullet Club member. He
No,
was
no,
leader.
leader.
He was never a Bullet Club
yeah,
leader.
because he beat Kenny.
Yeah, that wasn't a leadership thing.
Yeah, but so Punk, I think Punk leaving was a lot of negatives on AEW from loads of different reasons.
different angles.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
I remember at the time of WrestleMania 38, and there was all that talk of Kevin Owens' contract coming up, and that he had. I was excited. I was like, he's going to be class in AEW. But now that his contract's coming up, I was like, I really
No,
hope
he's re-signed.
Yeah, but I was like, I really hope he stays in WWE, and that's how my perception has shifted.
I
I think when it comes to bias, the fact that WWE feels new and fresh in comparison to the stale, stagnant product that we've experienced, maybe that's part of it. Because AEW, when that was new and fresh, I jumped on it.
but there's
NXT, TNA, WCW, all that, I jumped.
but there's certain people at this stage that you just know are not a good fit for either company.
Yeah,
so you know, you made a great point the other day about if someone like Roman left WWE and joined AEW, it's probably really not going to be a big game changer type thing anymore. Well, Roman's probably
the exception,
but like most people wouldn't. Like if Kenny and the Bucks left AEW,
that's because WWE seemed like such a horrid place because of the previous regime, and AEW was the new light.
Because you'd go NXT, and you go here to WWE, or you can go to this even better place called AEW.
So there's hope over here.
Yeah.
Whereas WWE, it just felt like now he's gone. Vinnie Mac is gone, and it feels like, oh, this is a better place. Oh, they're actually caring about their fans somewhat.
Yeah, but
in terms of your time invested in the product, because they want to keep your attention.
I know, but
that's the new currency.
Another thing
attention.
there though is like.
AEW were coming down here. They're not the new light. They're not the new hope anymore.
They were always going to. The honeymoon period was going to end at some stage.
Yeah.
But like you have to think as well. Like we kind of brought it up a little bit, but like now for like young black wrestlers, are they going to be looking at WWE and say, "No point in me going there. Paul doesn't book black guys on big spots."
I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you think that's inherently?
He does it on purpose.
Yeah, do you think he does it on purpose?
I don't think he sits down and says, I'm not booking any black wrestlers on my show. I think he doesn't see value in them because they're black, but I think he just has.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I don't know what I'm trying to say either.
Even what he said, I don't see color. I just see,
but that's a problem as well.
I don't see
like you
women,
look at Trick.
men,
he's
women.
the NXT champion. I know Shawn Michaels. Obviously, he's going to be stepping up. You have Obafemi, who was pushed big,
and he's going to be stepping up soon.
He's going to be stepping up. You have Carmelo Hayes,
great wrestler.
You know, New Day have
a lot of these guys should have been stepped up already. Carmelo Hayes.
Well, he's on SmackDown.
Yeah, but is he doing what Braun Breaker is doing?
No.
Yeah, but they're two different animals.
I know, but Braun and Carmelo were
neck and neck,
and now Braun is pushed.
Well, they're both in the mid-card title scene.
Yeah, but Braun, they're not been presented as the same upside.
But you can't present the same character.
They're not been presented as like future
at the same level. Yeah. Braun is presented as like
a future WrestleMania main eventer.
Yeah.
But they're two different aesthetics in terms of like athletic build and everything.
I know, but you can also like there's other ways to present a guy.
Two different characters.
Two different. Do you think
like Swerve's entrance there a couple of weeks ago in the like African King attire?
Yeah.
Could you ever see Paul book someone to do that?
Yeah, sure. They had Apollo Crews.
Sure, they had Kamala.
Apollo Crews came out in
that was Vince, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And that was bad. That was bad. Right?
Obafemi has,
and he had a fake Nigerian accent.
Obafemi has African heritage on. Like,
I would love to see that be
represented.
Yeah, represented and made.
And like there is
in a positive.
Like who am I? I don't like. I'm a white guy, so I don't understand the underrepresentation in terms of how someone would feel not seeing themselves reflected on the screen. But like you would have, they seem. Puerto Rico and the Latino community are getting represented in terms of Damian Priest.
The Irish.
You can say what you want about the LWO, you know, that everyone's getting lumped in together, but
that's kind of homogenized. It's an issue there as well.
Like the Samoan dynasty is very well represented on that whole show. I wouldn't say they classify themselves as white guys.
No, they're people of color, of course. Yeah.
So I don't.
But yeah, there isn't like.
An African American
their culture isn't being represented whatsoever.
And it's not when you look at MVP and Bobby Lashley in the comments that they have come out with since.
When you marry all that together,
it brings a bigger attention to it.
Yeah, when you marry all that together, it's a bad look.
The other thing that you've raised before that I think is worth raising now is AEW is the alternative. You've got Coke, you got Pepsi. Pepsi are never going to.
They're never going to take over, but they don't need to.
This is it. They don't need to. You just need to be an alternative where if WWE gets cold, people might come over and check out AEW for a while and it'll go up for a bit, it'll get cold.
Yeah, you don't need to be Eric Bischoff taking over.
No. But that's unrealistic.
But I think I think a big problem is, first of all, most people expected that they could do that.
Yeah.
And then secondly, AEW kind of said that they were kind of insinuating they were going to do that. In some
do you think so?
I don't think so. I think they always.
Tony was kind of it felt at some stage
Do you know
it
what
was
I
a
think
bit
happened?
Bischoffy in
Do you know
terms.
what I think happened, right? That wasn't like their
Modus operandi.
their goal from the start was never to
Oh, it was.
monopolize the industry.
No, not monopolize the industry, but to
Overtake them. I don't think it was.
to beat them for 83 weeks, whatever. Like I think it was when you saw those guys, they were looking at a product called WWE that was waning and boring, and it was bleeding viewers, terrible ratings, and they had this whole internet scene locked up, and they were like, "That's the future. We can actually take over wrestling." Fully. I think they fully
think
thought.
so?
Yeah, I think that was definitely spoken about. That they thought we can take over.
Because I
wrestling.
think like what you have like from if you're a businessman is like there is room in this sphere for a highly successful, highly profitable company
yeah,
I just
like Pepsi.
focusing on the actual what we're seeing on screen product. I was fully invested behind AEW. I really wanted to succeed. I don't enjoy it as much anymore. I think the people that defend AEW and go, "Oh, well, WWE do this and stuff," or if I criticize AEW, it's not because I love WWE. It's not because I think I have an inherent bias. It's because I'm seeing stuff that I don't enjoy, which may be predicated on the fact that I've grown accustomed to the WWE style, and I'm going, I like that. And then I'm seeing this and I go, I don't like that. So maybe that is a bias. But it's not coming from a place going,
But I think
AEW bad because AEW ain't WWE.
But I think we're all.
I don't want it to be WWE.
Everyone has a bias.
I just want
I don't.
coherent storylines.
You have a bias.
do you think
He's TNA.
Do you think
He's
a part of it?
he's a punk
Do you think a
bias.
part of it as well? There's actually not enough time to consume all of wrestling.
Massive part.
So
Yeah,
like,
sure.
so
I just
you-
said I
Massive.
no, but so
between
like,
doing podcasts for this, an in-universe podcast for an Irish wrestling company,
but like what I mean is
pay-per-views,
But like because there's
Work.
only enough time to consume
wrestling.
product, like a certain product, that obviously you're going to get a little bit of bias because that's the only thing you're watching. And then you get another thing.
You get
Sorry,
entrenched in that then as well.
a question. Something I've actually wondered before: is your Twitter feed full of AEW negativity? Like
No, my Twitter feed, I only go on it to look at who I'm following.
yeah.
And most of the things that, I have loads of people.
Like, is there an echo chamber? Do you think that you're being?
No, I just
it's hard to avoid echo
Like
chambers in
where I
general.
see all the tribalism is on the clips that we cut up for TikTok and Instagram.
Clickbait.
And it's not necessarily clickbait. It's literally like clipping up pieces. It's literally clipping up pieces of this
select
podcast.
the pieces to
That I know are
to drive engagement, or that you know will get the most engagement?
No, not necessarily, because some of them will. I'm not gonna clip this, for example. You know what I mean?
Clip that. See how it goes. See how it goes.
There's your
Like
clip.
this. I'm not going to clip this.
That's
because
very meta clip.
There's no massive opinions in it. There's no opinion that someone can go, oh, I disagree or I agree.
But,
it's not necessarily
okay,
clickbait.
let's go back
it's
to-
opinion-based content.
Let's go back to us having the crack and doing an AEW episode behind your back last week, and you clipped us talking about the disaster of the barbed wire death match. Did you clip any of the parts where three of us picked our favorite match in company history?
No, because I was listening.
He fell asleep. It was so boring.
No, but I was listening, and that's what stood out to me.
The negative part.
No, it wasn't necessarily because it was negative. It was, that's an interesting question. Has Kenny Omega reached his potential in AEW? Which was a previous thing I clipped.
So there's two things you clipped.
Three.
What was the other? I
can't remember the third
So
one.
there was the
It was another AEW bad.
the barbed wire. So we did an episode that was 60 minutes long, and it was 50 minutes of positivity and then 10 minutes of the things we didn't like. And 3 clips made it out, and there were the 3 negative parts.
Yeah.
We picked our best feuds, we picked our best tag teams.
Kind of feeding the monster.
Yeah, it's feeding the monster is what I feel.
Will AEW get the cartel thing right?
Framed kind of in a
That was-
negative way.
Yeah, it is.
What?
Yeah, it's framed.
They
framed
get it
negative.
right. They never get anything right.
Did Kenny Omega reach his potential? And
It's frame negative.
did AEW lose audience trust at this moment?
in a 60-minute podcast, that was 50 minutes of positivity.
Maybe that shows my bias, because that's what stood out to me.
Yeah.
I remember shouting.
Are you
I remember
listening?
shouting when I was listening, and you're talking about the tag teams. I was like, acclaimed. They're the biggest tag team because they're homegrown.
Yeah.
They Acclaim. They're the big.
we did-
They're not FT. I know you
forgot about them.
You
We
forgot about them.
We mentioned
You
them.
mentioned them towards the end, but you were all like, "Oh, the Young Bucks, FTR."
But if you, like,
the
they
Acclaim.
were the most valuable tag teams.
The Acclaim were the biggest tag team to come out of AEW because they're homegrown.
biggest success in
They
terms
weren't
of
even a
building
tag team
something.
before AEW.
Yeah, they were the biggest success in terms of building a homegrown tag team, certainly.
All right, clip that up and be like, oh yeah, FTR, yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah,
let's-
FTR are a great tag team.
Shane.
Great clip.
Shane, I want you to give me 30 seconds, and I'm going to do it with him as well, about why you love AEW.
Starting from when?
Now.
3, 2, 1, go. Clip
Is that my 3 seconds there?
No, just get into it.
Okay.
I'm gonna count.
I enjoy AEW for their unwavering support towards putting on great professional wrestling matches. I think the athletes within AEW are some of the most outstanding physical specimens when it comes to the actual moves of professional wrestling. Their ability to tell stories in matches on occasion has been a tremendous asset to the company and helped me enjoy it tremendously.
Thank you. Give me 30 seconds about only positive why you love WWE.
Well, I don't love WWE.
No,
but
no.
I came out in good faith, you
coming
son
out
of a
in good
bitch.
yeah.
I didn't say anything about
start?
their fucking lack of storytelling within matches. I said their moves. I said their fucking red card. Son of a bitch. Say you love
You don't tell me what to do.
Red card.
All right.
30 seconds on what I like about WWE.
Yeah. And start with I love WWE because.
I love some things about WWE.
He's doing this in bad faith.
I'm not doing it in bad faith. I'm being honest.
No, but we need to be. This is
Say
an
one thing about
experimentation.
WWE.
Okay.
There must be something about WWE that you love.
I love Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens is one of the best professional
He's not
wrestlers
talking about WWE. He's talking about Kevin Owens.
of his generation.
This is bullshit.
You're cutting me off. I think Kevin Owens is one of the best professional wrestlers of his generation, and I think he's been able to get himself over to the point within a locked up system that he has enhanced the product.
This is bullshit.
That he has enhanced the product dramatically. I also love how
This is nonsense.
how they've created WrestleMania. That's really good.
What you should have said is, I love
You actually.
you. Fucking
I
biased.
wanted him to do that.
You biased.
You couldn't just talk about something really positive.
You couldn't have said
Kevin Owens.
I love WWE's presentation of Kevin Owens.
That's by Kevin Owens.
Sorry, I love WWE's presentation of Kevin Owens.
30 seconds.
I also love WWE's presentation of a lot of wrestlers. Like, I loved what they did with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Thought they absolutely nailed that.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I am sure. I give it 10 out of 10.
There's a
What about the
clip that
bracelet?
says you don't.
I hate the bracelet, but I love how they, how they really wrapped it up. I also love that when they put their mind to getting, doing something big, there's nobody who can do it like them. When they really put their mind to doing something humongous, that feels like a paradigm shift. There's nobody better at doing that than they are.
I just want to say Paradigm Shift is a John Moxley move, and he's referenced AEW
But I will
there,
say that
and
there was a bit of passion and heart in what Niall just said. You spoke very generically.
It was very corporate.
It was corporate.
It was
wasn't
corporate.
Yeah. You've even put on your radio voice.
I just no, my radio voice is
felt
different.
like I was listening to you on the radio.
Yeah,
there.
same.
And selling me some
hello.
schlock.
Yeah. All right.
Dee Dee's Deli, the deadliest deli into town.
There you go.
Dee Dee's Deli.ie.
Okay. I think we've.
I didn't think
covered
we've
it.
accomplished anything.
I think we did.
I think we did.
As the referee, I'll tell you what I've
Do you know what
learned.
we accomplished? We gave you 5 more clips. Go on.
I think.
Get me fight. We are the wrestling fan.
I think what I'm going to say, a bit of hope.
My precious clips.
I think Shane. I think AEW could. I've learned that AEW could.
I'm willing to
win it back.
change.
Yeah,
I'm willing to change.
I think he's willing to change.
willing to change. Let's go, team.
Let's go, wrestling fan wrestling show.
Marto, get your hand in. No, you don't want to.
Okay, John.
He's
no
being
problem.
shy. He wants to stay out of this.
All right, this has been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. I'm Shane, big beefy boy.
Someone came up to me at OTT and was like, "It's the beefy boy," and I'm like, "Yeah, there's probably." Oh, la. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment on all the clips, all the positive clips.
I'm going home for some chicken fajitas.
Oh, and you can have fajitas too. Stay safe, stay sane. Good luck.